Hi, everybody. Today we are talking about Deborah. Okay, Deborah is going to be the highlight of the online Bible study, Women of the Bible series. Okay, so today is Deborah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell you where in the Bible is this story that I'm reading to you. And in your own time, go into the word and go ahead and read this for yourself. I'm going to break it down in my words, and I'm also going to give you different things that I feel the Holy Spirit leading me in to go into. Okay? So get ready. Put on your seatbelts. Let's go. Okay. So the story of Deborah is going to be in the book of Judges in chapter 4. Okay. Now, a little bit of history. During this time, the Israelites would be oppressed in a horrible way, oppressed by another king that was evil for 20 years. And see, the history of the Israelites and all of this pattern type of thing is that the Israelites would have a leader, they'd listen to him, the leader would die or something, and then they would go back and start worshiping idols and so forth, and then they would be cursed and they would lose everything, and it would go in cycles over and over and over again. They were kind of hard people to lead at this time. They really were. And okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you about Deborah. Now, Deborah, she was a prophetess, okay, which means she hears the voice of God, right? And we all hear the voice of God, but this is kind of being prophetic and being a prophet. You would hear the voice of God probably more clear to where you can help other people. Okay, so that's her story. She's a prophetess. That's what they called her. So people would go to her and say, hey, what is God saying about this? Okay, not like a fortune telling type thing like the world. It's not like that. This is God. All right, it's awesome. So she hears the voice of God, and she's also a leader. She's also a judge. And at this time, I was reading in the commentary earlier, and I'm reading out of the NIV in my Quest Study Bible. Okay, so at that time, I'm reading in the commentary, and it was saying that no men pretty much wanted this position. That's what the commentary said, but she was one that probably was vacuumed into this position. That's what the commentary said, and that she, you know, was willing to be brave enough and courageous enough to take this position in a very difficult time, right? Not even in a time where the men really wanted to listen. So it was a difficult time, and she took it. She said, I'll take it, right? It was her calling, just like everyone else had different callings, and you have a calling, right? Okay, so she went ahead and she took it. Now, one thing that the Lord pointed out to me earlier that I want to bring out in this is that being a woman and being a prophetess and being a judge, she wouldn't have just been given this position just like, there you go, like that. Okay. She would have had to prove her skills to people and earn the respect of people, because in order to be a leader, especially in that time, especially for a woman, you would have had to earn respect from other people. Now, God can tell you what your gift is, right? God can tell us what our gift is, and that's fine. But you will have to earn the respect of people, and you will have to prove yourself to people. Even they say, no, I'll just prove myself to God. No, you will have to prove yourself to people in order to get positions such as Deborah's. You will. And it's kind of the whole word where people say, your gifts will make room for you, right? It's the truth. That's how it goes. That's just it. The gifts made room for her. But are you listening to this? She had to practice the gifts. People see the gifts, and then they make room for you, right? All in order. So let me give you an example This is just an example. This is real life stuff. That's why I love doing these online Bible studies. But I don't know how many years ago it was. Probably almost 20 years ago, when I was living in North Carolina. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I had a very good friend. I still do. She's still in touch with me. Hello, she is. And Shelby. And Shelby took me to her church. It was John P. Key's church. Big, huge church. Huge, huge, huge. And Shelby had already told me, "You're a prophetess." And I'm like, I don't know about all that. I just know I hear God, I don't want to take, nothing like that. She goes, no, you're a prophetess. I'm like, I don't want, right? She'll tell you. So we went to church one Sunday, and when the pastor speaks and your insides are all tingly and you're like, oh, you have chills. You're like, no, are they speaking to me? Right? Or you could have people sitting next to you and they're like, oh, that's you. And they're like, nudge you with your elbow and stuff. Well, this was years ago. And he was on stage and he was getting really loud. And he was just filled with the Spirit, just saying all kinds of stuff. And he goes, "Prophetess." And he yells it really out. "Prophetess, prophetess." He goes, "Oh, it's not your time yet, prophetess. It's not your time. No one's going to see you for a while. You're going to be hidden for a while. Right? But when the right time comes," right? And he says this and he's going on and on and on. And my friend's going, "Oh, Simone, gee, he's talking to you. He's talking to you." And I'm like, okay. But see, what he was talking about is that God can tell us what our gifts are, but throughout the years or through the process, when we practice these gifts and we walk in them and others recognize them, that's when others actually respect us with those gifts. That's why he said, you're not going to be noticed now, not going to be noticed for a while. That's what he said. Okay. So I just want to explain to you that, okay, I have a lot of friends on my Facebook page, right, that I've kept in touch with throughout the years. Now, I also have a lot of friends that aren't on Facebook, and I just want to let you know that people will contact me constantly to ask them, "Hey, I'm going through this, what's going on?" Or the Lord will just use me for people sporadically that I'm in touch with, and I'll give them a word here or there, or, I have in churches and everything. So I guess what I'm saying is that these people that I know, it took time for them to respect my gifts. It took time for them to respect my gifts and to identify me as someone in the prophetic. It takes time. It's not like, oh, immediately God said, so that's what I am. And that's what you are, right? Like, for example, David was anointed to be king, but he wasn't king for years later. And what the Lord told me was David, and Joseph too, Joseph was given this dream. This is what's going to happen. Joseph was prophetic. He could interpret dreams, right? So it's like he had that gift to tell the future through dreams. Okay. So God had spoke to him years ago when he was young, right? And then after God spoke to him, all this hell broke loose, thrown in a pit, all this stuff, slavery, all that stuff, right? But not until certain people saw his gift was he promoted into the position that God had destined him for. Are you hearing me? It's going to take time. And one thing that the Lord wants me to tell you today is, okay, oh, and I'm not saying I've arrived, because I haven't. Okay. All I'm trying to say is I have people in my life that recognize me a certain way because God has used me with them and the gifts have been proven to them. It takes time, right? And it takes community. Okay. So one thing that I want to tell you is, one thing I'm going to tell you, I'm telling you, I'm excited about this because, that's what it means. That's what it means. And one thing the Lord told me that's so bottom line with all this is you're not even going to get to the place where your gifts make room for you if you don't step out of the boat. If God's telling you to start using your gifts and he's speaking to you, if you just hold them in and you never say them your whole life, how is anyone, what if Joseph would have held his gift in and he would have never said anything? Would he have been promoted to the palace, second hand next to Pharaoh? Would he have been? No. He used his gifts even in leadership. Do you understand? Joseph was promoted into leadership and through his giftings. He was promoted into leadership because why? Because when he was working for Potiphar, he did a very good job. The word said he did a good job wherever he went. So when he went to prison, he even was a leader in prison. Are you telling me this? Are you hearing? I'm like, he had to prove himself with his leadership skills before he was just put in that leadership position. Okay, so a lot of us, we go, well, God told us we can lead. Well, God told us we can be, we're prophetess or we're a prophet. Okay, that's great and that's dandy. God told you. Hold on to that. Okay, but step out of the boat, start practicing it, right, within community, and let things start happening. That's all this has to do with Deborah. I feel it does. Okay. I feel it does. Back in North Carolina, I had a 1-hour commute to work every day. I would put on praise and worship and I would just praise the Lord for 1 whole hour. And I want to let you know that my gifts did not grow prophetically until I was in the Word more. The Word made my gifts grow prophetically. Okay? Because I knew God spoke to me from way back when I was small. He spoke to me. But it was never as strong as it was when I started getting in the Word. Okay? I'm telling you, get in the Word, listen to praise and worship, and He will speak to you. All right? And then one other thing I would do is I would tell the Lord, God, give me a word for somebody today. And I practiced with God. I had my own prophetic boot camp with the Lord. I say, God, give me a word today. I would go to work. I would email someone. They would come up to me crying and hug me. Oh, Simone, blah, blah, blah. It was scary. Let me tell you. It was scary just speaking to people, not knowing how they were going to accept it. I have a lot of friends that I worked with throughout the years that I gave prophetic words to. And they were like, wow, how did she know that? Right? Right? So I'm saying, yeah, this is good stuff here. Okay, so let's go back to Deborah. Okay, so Deborah is a leader in this time. So already after everything I just told you, she worked to get there. And she was brave enough and courageous enough to take this position, right, to lead people that were probably not fun leading all the time. Okay. And she took it anyways. Okay, so now the fun part is, now she tells Barak, right? She tells him, go. He's, oh my gosh, I don't have the word with me right now. He is a leader in the military, okay? And she tells him, go. The Lord said, you're going to win this war. You're going to win against this evil guy, this king. Go take so-and-so thousand, things with you. Go. You'll read it. Go take him with you and you're going to win. Okay, so Barak looks at her and he goes, hey, I'm not going to go without you. I'm not going to go without you. I'll go, but I have to go with you. Okay. So she was compassionate. She was still a compassionate leader. She didn't look at him or make fun of him or scold him or anything because, he was requiring her of this. Yeah, he seemed a little gibberish, a little scared. During that time also, they would look as prophetesses and prophets as spiritual advisors, right? Of course. So he felt more safe maybe with a spiritual advisor with him or someone of the Lord that can go with him. He felt like, maybe it was some sort of spiritual backup type thing. It was understandable because remember, they were under oppression for 20 years. Okay. So this was a scary deal. So she looks at him and she says, you know what? I'll go with you. But if I go with you because you didn't do it the way God wanted you to do it, okay, alone, you're not going to get the honor. A woman is going to get the honor for this, for the victory. So now what the Lord is telling everybody who's watching today is when God tells you to do something, that doesn't mean bring the party with you. That doesn't mean bring your buddies with you. That doesn't always mean bring your friends with you. It doesn't mean when he says start a Bible study, it doesn't mean you have to have your friend with you, holding your hand. If he's telling you to lead a Bible study, it's because he knows you're capable of handling it yourself with him. Correct? I've had to do several things in my life by myself, with God, with no one, in places where people really should have had somebody like a lawyer, and, nope, I did it alone. And guess what? God was with me. I had the victory. Okay. Amazing testimonies, but I don't have time to share those right now. But I'm telling you today, if God is telling you to do something, you don't always have to have your girlfriends with you. Men, you don't always have to have your boyfriends with you, right? You don't always have your buddies with you, your bros, right? You don't have to. You don't have to always bring them with you, because guess what? If you bring them with you and God's telling you not to, and God's telling you to do it a different way alone, he's just giving you the message, then the reward will not be the same. The honor will not be the same for what you did for him. I'm getting that today. Okay? God is specific sometimes. He's specific. If he's telling you something specific, then listen to him. Okay? So we're going through this. So then now they go, it's almost over. Okay, everything's almost over. And then this woman, her name is Jael. She is the wife of, I think Heber. Okay. And she ends up seeing Sisera, and she calls him. He's the one that they want to kill. They want to kill him. Okay. It'd be the grandest victory to kill him. So she calls him and she goes, hey, come over here. He's like, I'm thirsty. He comes in her tent with her husband. She's like, covering him. It's all great and dandy, right? He goes, hey, can you please stand by the door and check to see if anyone's coming, any enemies? Can you look out for me? Okay. Can you look out for me? Well, Jael, right? She's awesome. Okay. She's another woman. This is about Deborah, the whole thing, but she's awesome. Okay, so she takes it in her own hands and she kills him. She gets like a tent peg. Oh my God, a tent peg. This is so funny. Okay, gets a tent peg and she stabs him into the temple and she kills him. And it wasn't easy, because it said she was exhausted. Like, she was struggling to kill him. Like, she put work into it, okay? But she did it. And that's the honor, okay? So then check this out. So then Barak comes over and she's, oh, Barak, come over here. I have something for you. Here's blah, blah, blah. And that's how all that ended. And eventually they overcame everyone that was against them under that rule, right? So, right? I mean, this is so awesome, this stuff. So, so we've learned a couple things here today. We've learned that Deborah didn't just probably get the position like that. Like, she would, of course, have had to prove herself and earn the respect of people, right? She wasn't just someone that jumped up in the crowd and said, hey, I'll lead, and that's it. And they're just like, oh, everybody's great about it. They must have known her, right? They must have recognized her gifts. They must have recognized her leadership skills, right? So she was put in that position because it took time. I don't know, her whole life. It doesn't explain all that. But a woman in that time, trust me, she would have had to earn respect of others that she's a prophetess and has good leadership skills. For people to go to her. And another thing I wanted to tell you is it mentions her husband. Okay, so she had a husband that God gave her, an amazing husband that supported what she did, supported her leadership, supported her position, supported all this. It doesn't say anything bad about her husband at all, right? And so I just want to let you know something else that's in order, right, ladies? First of all, don't get this twisted. It never said that she led her household. She led what God had put her to lead, and she was in charge of a lot. Yes, agreed. But it doesn't say she led her household. But her husband would have had to support it, right? Otherwise, she wouldn't have even been in that position. So, ladies, when you want to do something and when you're called to do something and everything, you have to have your man's support. Okay? Otherwise, that's not scriptural either. It's not. God's not going to call you to do something and have your household in shambles. It's not. Okay. So, Now, you're going to have good times and bad times. There'll be struggles. Okay. There might be sometimes people want to throw in the towel between the husband and wife because ministry is hard. But down on the bottom line, you'll have your spouse's support. You will. Okay. So anyways, I just think this is awesome. This is a good message. Okay. Deborah is, man, she's awesome. So Deborah just like stepped up. Like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take all this. I'll lead all this. It was an easy job. Was not an easy job. Was not an easy job. Okay. Her job wasn't easy, but God had told her to do it. And another part in chapter 4, when she tells Barak to go do this, she says, God has gone before you. So she tells him he's going to have the victory, and she tells him God has gone before you in this. And one thing I want to let you know also is God has gone before you in anything that he's called you or asked you to do for him. He has gone before you. He's already laid the path and the foundation down before your feet steps on the pavement. He's already done it. Okay. So that's amazing too, to know that when God tells you to do something and you want to bring your buddies, you want to bring your friends into it or whoever. Okay. Just know if God told you to do it, it's because he thinks you're capable and he's gone before you. Right? Do it God's way, get the full reward, right? Do everything the way, be patient. If he's called you to something, if he said that you're gifted in certain things, you're not even going to be recognized. You're not even going to you're not going to cause any ripple effect. You're not going to do anything unless you start stepping out of the boat. Do what I said. Get in the word more. Your gifts will get stronger. Okay? Get in praise and worship daily. Your gifts will get stronger. Ask the Lord to give you a word for someone every day. Step out. Start stepping out. It's scary, but start stepping out. Let your gifts start proving themselves, right? Like I said, everyone that's connected to my life that know my gifts, it's because I've stepped out, okay, on a personal and private level, and I've earned their respect. Nobody's any different. You're going to have to earn people's respect. So anyways, get out there. Do what God called you to do. You Deborahs and you Jaels, right? Jael rocks. She rocks. She like took it, didn't she? She just like, pff. I'm telling you, right? There's women out there and there's men out there that God's calling you to do things. Go do it. All right? You have a great week. Bye-bye.